Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to your Thursday edition of FSU Weather. I'm Student Meteorologist Michael Onen. And unlike yesterday, a little less activity on satellite and radar. We don't have any of those sea breeze showers like we did yesterday because high pressure is really dominating our region, and it's going to dominate our region as we go into the next few days. That's what our forecast will show, mostly clear skies for a lot of your Friday, with the temperatures really rising and going into the upper 90s, as you see by our 3-day forecast. 97 degrees on Friday. We might crack the century mark on Saturday and might get very close on Sunday with only a 10% chance of rain at best. And again, if you do get that rain, you're very lucky, honestly. And those lows are going to really increase into the 70s as well. So it's not going to be very comfortable overnight like it has been the last few nights. Now, coming up on tonight's show, again, we might break some records or tie some records. We still have some severe weather out towards the Central Plains, and we also have your NOAA hurricane outlook. So that's what we're going to be talking about on tonight's show. Now, let's send off to Tyler with our first local.
Thanks, Michael. And right now, our current temperatures are at 93 degrees here in Tallahassee with a dew point at 65. Heat index, which is about how it actually feels like outside, is all the way up to 95, and winds are picking up a little bit at 14 miles per hour. Looking around the region, 93 in Tallahassee right now, up in Mariana, 93 as well. Down towards the coast and Carabel, it's a little bit cooler at 85 degrees, 84 in Apalachicola. And these dew points are also higher at the coastline because a lot of moisture from the ocean is coming into those regions, which is bringing up the dew point. As we move inland, it's a little bit lower in Bainbridge at 59, so a little bit drier inland, moisture towards the coast. It feels way hotter, though, in Tallahassee at 95 degrees. In St. Mark's, it feels like 96. And as we move towards the coast and Apalachicola, it feels like 87. And looking at our satellite and radar, there's not much to talk about in the way of rain. Pretty dry around the Big Bend region. But as we zoom out, it's actually the same story for most of the southeast. We have a high pressure system in the southeast, which is keeping dry conditions for pretty much all of the southeast. A little bit of rain up in Nashville and close to Charlotte, but not much to worry about in the way of rain. And looking, if you're trying to plan your evening tonight, it's going to be hot at 7 p.m., 90 degrees, but it's going to cool down rapidly as we move towards the night. It's going to get down to 81 degrees, and at 12 a.m., we're going to get down to 77 degrees. And we're getting close to these record temperatures here in Tallahassee. Forecasted for tomorrow, we're supposed to tie the record, and as well on Saturday. Sunday and Monday, we're going to get a little bit closer, but not quite hitting these record temperatures of 100 and 102 on Monday. Looking at the week ahead, Friday is going to get all the way up to 97 degrees, and Saturday, we're finally going to hit those triple digits at 100. And as we move into Sunday, I'm going to cool down, but like about 1 degree, not much. And as we move through Monday, also 99 degrees. And it's going to cool down a little bit as we move through the rest of the week. And by Thursday, we're going to get down to 95 degrees. And rain chances will at least pick up a little bit. And also our low temperatures all throughout the week are going to start picking up as well. On Saturday night, it's going to stay at 72 degrees. And even on Tuesday night, 74 degrees. So we're going to keep these temperatures pretty high during the day and at night, and there's not much rain around that's going to help cool off the temperatures for us. So a pretty brutal week ahead, but hopefully by Thursday it's going to get a little bit better for us. We're going to be able to cool down a little bit as these rain chances move back in. These sea breeze showers were going to help us out, try to cool things down. But right now I'm going to pass things off to Zach with a look at the southeast.
Thanks, Tyler. We're looking at the southeast out here, and it's the same picture as we've been talking about the past few days. We're seeing those high temperatures, 93 here in Tallahassee. We're a little bit cooler down in Miami and Orlando. Up here in Nashville at 88 degrees as well, but for the most part, we're seeing 90s all across the southeast region. And we're looking at this wind flow, and we can really start to see that high pressure system that is sitting over top of us. We see a clockwise rotation around here, and we see a little bit higher winds down here more towards the south, particularly at Houston at 17 mile an hour, Shreveport at 15, and up here in Tulsa, we're seeing 23 mile an hour winds up there. And looking at these dew points, we're seeing dew points that are slightly uncomfortable. They're not to the point where we're sweltering, but it feels a little humid whenever we're out there. So especially in the areas down here where we're seeing these 70s around Houston and New Orleans, you'll be feeling a little bit more humid out there. Not quite too comfortable here in Tallahassee, but it's not as bad as those other regions that I pointed out more to our west. And for our heat index, as a result of those dew point temperatures, we're seeing temperatures feeling like just a little bit more than what they actually are. So it feels like 95 out there in Tallahassee, a little bit cooler down here in Orlando again at 85, 88 down in Miami, and 88 in Nashville as well, feeling 91 degrees over here in Tulsa. And looking at the drought monitor, because we have the heat in our forecast and the heat is here to stay, we are having issues with the drought, and we are not seeing a lot of rain in the forecast. We haven't had a rain in a little while. We have those sea breeze, but we just don't have enough moisture in the atmosphere to produce those showers and sort of get any of those drought conditions away. So most of our southeast Georgia area and the Panhandle, we're seeing drought conditions, as well as this southeast South Carolina area. And as for the air quality warnings in Atlanta, we have a slight air quality warning. So if you have issues, maybe asthma or maybe elderly, you might want to stay inside tomorrow because you might have some issues with that and have a little bit of trouble breathing. And looking at this satellite and radar, we can really start to see this shift in winds as the clockwise rotation as it's flowing, and it really shows that high pressure system that's been sort of sitting over us, and that's why we're not really seeing any of that rain and we're under that drought condition. Looking into tonight, clear skies here in Tallahassee. We're seeing 68 degrees here, 69 in Orlando, clear. Everybody to the north of us is a little bit more cloudy there. And tomorrow we'll be seeing 95 degrees here in Tallahassee and mid-90s for most of the region. And now I'm going to pass things off to Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. While the southeast is baking, some other parts of the country are like, can we finally get a break from this weather? You notice how as we go into the Central Plains, another coolish day out there, especially in the Central Plains. But notice how we have a front here. Notice how it hasn't really changed since the Monday. This pattern has been very persistent where we have a trough over the west and a ridge over the east where you have the very hot conditions. That's going to continue in the southeast and the very cool conditions in the west. What I find very hilarious is that places in Vermont have been warmer than Las Vegas and Phoenix because of this pattern. That is something you don't really see a lot in May, and it's very intriguing. Now, the storm prediction center for today has a severe weather risk for the Central Plains. As you can see in the Texas Panhandle, we have a moderate risk with an enhanced risk for Oklahoma, Kansas, and other parts of the Texas Panhandle. And then we also have a slight risk out towards the northeast. And so that's where most of the action is today with this frontal boundary and moving around high pressure, given that high pressure across the southeast is very strong. So let's first zoom into the northeast. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in pink with some severe thunderstorm warnings in orange. Actually, that storm system that moved through Washington, D.C. earlier actually spawned a tornado warning. Thankfully, nothing bad happened there earlier today. But now you see these storms are weakening somewhat as they go over the Chesapeake Bay into the Atlantic. Now, out towards the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma, we can see some supercell thunderstorms already firing up. We have some severe thunderstorm warnings in orange and this tornado watch in yellow in effect for Lubbock and Amarillo. And just north of that, it's been very wet the last few days and the last few weeks across Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Have some very major flooding across the Arkansas River. And so we have this flash flood watch in effect for Green. Now our featurecast shows you, notice how these storms ride around this high pressure system. This is what we call ridge riders. Just going around the high pressure, impacting the same areas over and over again. So flash flooding is going to be a concern for the next few days at least for the same areas, the Central Plains, the Great Lakes, and as well as for the Northeast. Meanwhile, the Southeast is going to be baking in those triple-digit heat, and the West is going to remain cool, but at least mostly clear with that trough still over them. Now, again, as we go into Friday and Saturday, nothing really changes. You have the storms in the Central Plains and the Midwest and the Northeast, while the Southeast remains baking. And unfortunately, we're not expecting really a change in this pattern for at least the next 7 days. And the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, again, same area with the slight risk. And you see a marginal risk in green going around this high pressure system. And then as we look at Saturday, you're thinking in your head, is this Thursday? No, this is Saturday. It's basically the same areas that got impacted by severe weather earlier this week are dealing with this once again. So for tonight's forecast, very warm across the southern tier of the country. And then for tomorrow, hot in the southeast, have to deal with storms in the central plain and the Midwest, and cool once again in the west. Now let's send it off to Tyler with a look at the tropics.
Thanks, Michael. And we finally have our outlook for the 2019 hurricane season. We're going to expect to have 9 to 15 named storms, 4 to 8 hurricanes, and 2 to 4 major hurricanes. This is about an average prediction for our hurricane season. And looking in the East Pacific, we actually have a storm here that has about a 10% chance of formation in the next 4 to 8 hours, and a 30% chance of formation in the next 5 days. And this actually went down. There was a 50% chance of formation earlier in the week, so conditions have gotten less favorable for this storm to develop. But here are the 2019 hurricane names here. Andrea already happened, but as we move to the list, we have names like Barry, Aaron, and even Humberto. We have some strange names here, some more typical names like Tanya, but this is our 2019 hurricane name list. And talking a little bit more about Andrea, it was actually a subtropical storm, not a tropical storm. And the difference here is that the low pressure was actually higher up in the atmosphere. It was at the upper levels. And the core of the storm was colder in temperature. And that's because this storm was fueled by the air and the ocean, not just the ocean. And if we look at our tropical storms, the low pressure is actually at the surface and the higher pressure is further aloft. And it has a warmer core, and that's because it is fueled by the ocean water. So now I'm going to pass things off to Emily with our second local.
Thank you, Tyler. Look in the past 12 hours, you can see that very strong increase of temperature throughout the afternoon and into about 3 o'clock when we reached a high of 93 degrees here in Tallahassee. Our local temperature is 93 in town here, 91 in Bainbridge. A little bit cooler down by the coast with that light sea breeze coming off the coast, cooling down those temperatures. As you can see, it feels like temperature really hot here in town again, even hotter in St. Mark's at 96 and a little bit cooler up in Valdosta at 93 degrees this afternoon. Our satellite radar, very clear throughout the region, few pop-up showers over off into the southern Alabama area and into the Panama City area. Not much going on to talk about, but for your Friday planner at 8 a.m., 72 degrees, that's a perfect morning to get out and go for your morning walk. If you have a dog or kids to take out before you go to work, noon, 87 degrees, and a high at 97 degrees by 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. For your forecast, we can zoom out and see not much going on. A little bit of showers coming up by the Mobile Bay area. You can see that that clockwise rotation in those clouds from that high pressure dominating the southeast region, bringing no rain, no clouds throughout tomorrow. Balmy, boiling weekend up ahead. Make sure you monitor those pets and the elderly with those that are without AC. Great weekend to stay indoors, and if you do go outside, bring your sunscreen and drink plenty of water and stay in the shade. Our record temperatures predicted to be breaking or reaching Friday and Saturday with that 97 degree mark Friday and the 100 degree mark Saturday. Not quite reaching the records Sunday and Monday with a little bit below our records those days. Our week ahead, very hot weekend, good weekend to stay inside. 99 degrees for your Memorial Day on Monday. 20% chance of rain as we move into next week, but those temperatures are going to remain a bit higher until we get to Thursday with about 95 degrees. Then those lows are going to remain constant with those low 70-degree temperatures throughout the week and the weekend. Please, please follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather, Instagram and Facebook, the same handle is www.facebook.com/FSU Weather. And on YouTube, youtube.com/FSU Weather for your updates on the heat coming up. FSU Weather on Instagram as well. Thanks for watching.